asking questions. Rather than me being a block, I moderate it. More than that, help to facilitate the question that comes out of the audiences, where we have an experienced panel here, the largest bank in the country, advising banks and as a what has to do in technology, etc. We have from a cooperative bank the different challenges that's getting faced, different from the corporate banks, and also we have some guy from technology company to address the questions that any of them can have. Just as a format, sir, if you can, each one of you can initiate. There are 4 or 5 questions which are being raised as a part of this panel. One is the impact of regulations, in particular with respect to cyber security. To really look at it, what's positive about it? We are all quite good in self-criticizing ourselves. We come up with lots of negative things, but I've also come up with some positives about what it is, and compliance and maturity levels within the BFSI fraternity, and collaborations across the sector, and finally, what is the impact that it has on IT, Act compliance, digital signatures, PCI DSS, and also GG committees, recommendations, how it is affecting them. These are the things that's being focused on to address in this session. Maybe, sir, but the panelists can take a few minutes to give your perspective. After that, I just want to open up a floor for a conversation with the participants. I may also ask a question as a participant rather than as a moderator. Maybe start with you, sir.
Yeah, good morning, all of you. Security is very much concerned for the banking and financial sector. The banks in the all, take it public sector bank, take it corporate bank, take it the foreign bank or a private sector bank. All these banks are addressing the security in banking and financial sector. The areas which they are concerned is the enterprise security architecture, the network and security monitoring systems. These are already in place in the bank. Then they are addressing the logical and physical security. Then there is something known as the National Critical Protection. They are also given the guidelines. Banks are putting into that. The RBI has also given the guidelines, well known as the Gopal Krishna report. And that brings a lot of things as a framework, and that is addressed based on the framework of the from the COVID as well as ISO 27001. So let's say that bankers are doing a lot of work in this area because their reputation is at the stake. If they are not addressing this security, they will lose their business. It is very much concerned.
Thank you, sir. From your perspective, ma'am, because especially some of the bankers asked a question about frauds and prosecutions and ability to address and so on and so forth.
Good morning, everyone. Let me first of all talk about the regulations. Is it really required, or it should be left to the individual players to decide on that? I am very fond of narrating what one of my colleagues always is interested in talking about, that is a car seat belt. Is it required or not required? And generally people avoid putting it on, thinking that it is a hindrance. But then it is mandated, and when policemen see that, they catch you and then penalize you. So at that point of time, people look at it, it's a regulation, so I am doing it. It is not for safety. So left to the players themselves, probably they will go an easy way, which is not really a safe and secure method to do it. One of the participants was asking a question on whether the business speed can be achieved if security measures are put in place. Again, I will come back to an example of cars. Every car is having a brake. What is the brake there for? It is not for putting a brake to the business, but it will make you travel faster. Speed can be increased if the break is there. So everything, once a business can grow confidently if the security measures are in place. Coming to after that, now regulations. What are the regulations which government has mandated? The basic regulation on cybercrime is on our IT Act, where the cyber crimes are becoming punishable offences, detailed in that. Then there is a GG guidelines, which is speaking about how banks has to moderate their information security business. Again, it has been mandated there. It's not a mandatory, it is a guideline again, but since it is coming from our regulator, it has been taken as a mandate itself, where the information security reports to the risk management department. So the risk is the other side of information security. It is the same coin. One side you feel the information security, the other side is the technology risk. And you work closely with IT department. And again, who is the risk owner? That was again another question asked. I'll come back to my organization. Any non-compliance to the security policy or IT policy, the business would recommend that they are prepared to take the risk. We need to move fast, whatever their reasons are. But then the IT head decides, okay, it has to be, the deviation has to be approved by the IT head. Security policy is there, IT policy is there. If there is a deviation, it has to be done by with the approval of the IT head on the recommendation of the business. So both of them are party to the risk appetite of it. Depends on the risk appetite of the organization also.
The security, I feel, is again a state of mind. The reason is there is no end to it, and how you look at it and from which point you look at it. We have a feel-good factor. I put in an IPS, I put in an IDS, I put whatever the vendors come out with, like the two gentlemen before us. Like they rightly said, put a scare into us. If you don't put this, you are going to get attacked. But is it going to end? No. So somewhere we as users and providing services to our customers, we need to take a call. What is acceptable to us, because we cannot at any given moment of time be totally secure. So there have to be certain processes which have to be built in to compensate for those things which are not putting in place. I'll give two simple examples. As a user, Vishal had mentioned, or I think the gentleman had mentioned, we all visit malls. And when we visit malls, we are offered loyalty cards. And when we are offered loyalty cards, we are asked to furnish all our credentials. This has nothing to do with technology, this has nothing to do with banking. But when we are submitting these forms, we give everything, including our credit card details, including our birth date, including our PAN number, including everything. And these are given to the mall where we really don't know who is processing it and from where they are capturing all this information. And in spite of all the credentials which I carry, I have fallen prey to this. Because of what? I want loyalty. When I go to that mall, I want something more. So this greed, I think, is also prevalent among a lot of our users. So to get something more out of it, we are very gullible enough to share our information. Secondly, in business processes in banks, many a times the management gives kind of targets to the front end, which they go all out to complete their targets. And many a times these targets are, I may be setting the cat amongst the pigeons, but many times are completed without going through the full cycle of the compliance towards KYC, etc., etc., which also has a big contribution towards failures in security. See, as a security person, as a CIO, I may put in all these things in place, but there could be failures at the grassroots level. So this is something which we need to plug. Third, as a cost control measure, many of us are going for outsourcing. When we are outsourcing, we really don't know the quality of the staff who is attending to it. So the failure points are multiple. I am not talking of mobility, which is much more vast area. which is yet to be untapped. And the fourth and the last thing, the clear divide of Bharat and India, where the urban cities and the semi-urban cities could be, the customers could be more aware of all these things, but in the rural areas, where the basics are yet to come up, and we have to provide the same kind of services to those customers, the challenges will come there, especially with all these payment banks and all, where the concentration is all to bring in the financial inclusion to those areas.
Samir, from your perspective, what do you see, how technology fits into support the regulatory compliance requirements and also this changing landscape of cybersecurity?
Thanks, Shiva. Morning, everyone. I actually had a slightly controversial statement to make, right? So one is, should compliance be the goal or should compliance be an outcome of whatever you implement? But ideally, if you look at it, compliance should be an outcome of whatever controls you have in place. And compliance as a goal can only be a check in the box. That was one part. Maybe just picking on what Dr. Pedgalkar had mentioned earlier. But that was one part. Secondly, if you look at security, right? Security in isolation itself is going to protect the entire business. So, are we giving enough importance to security as such? Should you include, so just referring to GG committee report, should you include security as a part of your BCP? Right, because if you business is unavailable, it is unavailable. So should that be a part of BCP, or should there be a different regulation altogether dedicated for security itself? The GG committee report is all encompassing, right? The security is a part of it. Or should there be a report by industry forums giving guidelines, regulations, or maybe a framework for banks and financial institutions? Now, if you look at just the financial services space, right? You have SEBI as a regulator, you have RBI as a regulator, so you have IRD as a regulator for that matter. Should there be a framework which is common to all of them from a security perspective, which the individual banks or the individual entities can deploy as per their norms? I don't know. It is a larger question, which but this was the thought process.
If the audience wants to start with the questions, or else I have a question. Yes, from the positive perspective, sir, since you represent IBA, I look at it as a common user. I look at India's cyber security posture perspective. Regulators are doing a wonderful job as compared to many, especially the OTP and then the two-factor authentication measure that we introduced on even the debit credit card transactions apart from internet transactions, etc. is moving in the right direction to establish it the first time right, because we are starting small, unlike many other countries where it has grown. The internet economy and the plastic economy has grown large, and now they're trying to protect, whereas we are starting from the base quite nicely well. But having said that, is that the overall bankers associations and the regulators focus also shifts from pure IT security to cyber security, which encompasses to start from the end user into the entire value chain participants perspective. It's not limited to infrastructure and internal process and procedures. I do see some measures of end user consumer awareness, banks, etc. trying to do. But how do you see this shift from happening, focusing on technology or protection to proactive prevention, awareness, education, and bringing every participant along? Is that also the focus of the regulators?
With the customers are doing the transactions in the cyber space, there is a need for the customer education. So that DFI sector is already doing the customer education. Those you will see in the media, print media, as well as the radio, as well as the TV also. There is a lot of customer education is happening. Not only that, when these things are being built up, when bank wants to put the particular application in the cyber space, they have to anticipate what will be the threat, and then once identifying the possible threats, they will not be giving 100% correct in identifying all the people. Identify the possible threats and try how we can prevent when we are putting that application in the cyberspace. That is very much required. Then as the attacks happens, as the things happen, banks have to do the proactive things and see how we are able to mitigate that risk. And then in the second term, it should not happen again. That is very much required. That's why in the IBA forum we have got the forum, yes, forum. Not only that, we have got our website, which is not available for the public, which is available for the bankers. So the where we give the modus operandi of the fraud, not only cyber fraud, other type of fraud. So we don't disclose the identity of the bank, but definitely we give the modus operandi of fraud, and that is the way we tell the bankers this way happen, so that the other bankers can become the alert. That is the pages we
Yeah, there's a question there. If you could pass a mic on the front table.
This is Amita Ajgaonkar from Saraswat Band. My question is for Dr. Padgaonkar. Sir, you just said that there is a forum for all these things, and moreover, I agree that all the security measures, RBI guidelines, as Madam has rightly said, it should not be taken as a compliance, but if it is taken that this is after all going to help the organization, yes, very, very good security measures, very strict, even NPCI is taking a lot of efforts in that direction. But one part which in fact in the morning even I had mentioned, the more that is for prevention, but what if despite all that, because of the awareness level of the customers, users, if the damage is done, what after that? It is observed that police authorities do not cooperate, it is not there, we should not blame them, I agree, there is no awareness, especially when they hear of technical parts. Then there are our core banking systems problems, like if the fraud is, account is in say Koparkhaine, the fraud has happened in Mira Road and the check ATM was withdrawn there, which police station to take the complaint? And then the branch manager says हम business करें या ये सब करें, पूरा दिन जाके police station पे बैठे. So we wanted, sir, that can IBA, or maybe already IBA is looking into it, as forming some working committee, having members from the police authorities, like law enforcement authorities, and the RBI and the bankers, some forum which could really address this, because if the miscreants know कि वैसे भी पकड़े नहीं जाएंगे, and by the time somebody, if we approach some higher authorities, the police is not taking the complaint, then they take it, and by the time even if they are able to track it, the damage is already done and we are not able to recover the amount also. So with that, it is a suggestion that there should be some group formed to work on this, or maybe if it is already there. And thank you so much.
It is very good suggestions. We will take it forward. But what I want to say that we have got the police force throughout India, and we know what is the awareness of this thing. But we have to make them aware, educate with their authority, so that their awareness also built up. Today, what is happening? Police is not taking complaint because of the unaware. They are not aware of this. And it is also a hassle for the branch manager to go to the police station, file the FR on this. But better banks take the risk. Okay, leave it. Fraud is not much. But definitely we have to make the police force also the education. And there is a lot of happening. Particularly we have got interaction with the police also, with the Maharashtra police also. some of the others, Karnataka police, even Andhra Pradesh people. So we are doing that efforts in the background. Definitely, the suggestions will be well taken, will form the one for people.
So this can also include the counterfeit notice, so though that is not an agenda here,
Yeah.
but even one police station accepts the counterfeit notes, and one says what should we do with it, third one says we will then harass your customer, better don't come to us. These things, because there is no common proper guidelines. If we show them RBI circular, they say हमको RBI से कुछ लेना देना नहीं है. We are naturally RBI is not their regulator.
On cybercrime information sharing bureau, and as bankers, somewhere I feel we are averse to sharing the problems which we have faced. I think we should shed our inhibitions and share it in the interest of the community. Because if I have faced a problem as a bank, maybe, and the steps which I have taken to proactively plug those gaps, someone else can learn for it and put it in place. So I think umbrella organization can take care, having due secrecy and all these things, and we can participate in that. And
There's a question here. Ma'am.
So, I'm Pramod Muzumdar from AB Bank. We are a single branch bank of Bangladesh bank. It is in fact not a very big branch. Around 80 branches in Bangladesh and single branch in India. We are already applied for some more branches in India. In fact, right now we are basically into only business with Bangladesh importers along with Indian exporters. We don't have much of IT background. We've got CVS system based in basically Bangladesh head office. They are involved in the system. That has got limited here, and actually we don't have much of support, IT support also, barring one or two offices, local offices. And basically all these problems we don't have any solutions. We go back every time we try to contact RBI and we are not much help in that. In fact, they only cite the circulars. In this case, can we look upon IBA to have some, and this is not only, ours is not only, there are so many foreign banks in India with single or two branches facing similar problems. So we look upon IBA to have, and as Anita madam said, I think IBA should, for a small fees or whatever, can take some initiative in this regard and just take up the matters with appropriate authority.
So he's asking basically, can IBA support small banks when it comes to interacting with the regulators to get a solutions for their problems when it comes to
So,
security?
for example, in similar, this in past, some such thing happened regarding some old entries or old matters. I forgot really, but then there are a lot of hassles with RBI, and we were called upon to pay a hefty penalty also. Somehow we could get in touch with Deputy Governor RBI and somehow avoid such things. They wanted us to pay something around 50 lakhs of fine. Forgot really exactly what is the matter. But such things are occurring and we are really at the receiving end. This is such a small bank, but annual profit something around 7 to 8 crores.
Let's address it.
Let me see. IBA is Indian Bank Association. So it is it is for you. So if you are facing the problem, definitely you should take up with the IBA, and if it is the right cause, definitely we take it. But if it is the wrong cause, definitely we not. So the question is that once the problem is raised with us, we internally examine. We have got the standing committees, we have got the managing committees, they take the decisions and right causes at the industry level, we take with the recovery company. First, if I am not very sure, you are a member of the IBA?
Yeah, of course.
Yes. Okay. If that is the case, please do write to us. We will take care of things for the right thing. That is what I can assure you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, while I don't see any hands in between, there's lots of questions that are being asked from small Saraswat bank converts, etc., from prosecution, regulatory agencies, and so on and so forth. You are operating the largest bank in the country, and you would have faced variety of events and incidences. What do you see from your perspective, the Indian environment? What positives and what are the negatives? What are the learnings that you would like to share with the participants here?
Recently we had a meeting with CAFRA, where the CBI Joint Director was also present. And the same kind of questions were asked, saying that we have problems in talking to the police people when crime is happening, and we go and report that the bank people are being harassed, and when it will come to the judicial system and how long it will take. But nobody had a ready answer for that, because it's an evolving field. So we need to keep in good liaison with the police, especially the cybercrime police. That would be my only answer. Because the cybercrime police, when you meet him day in and out for something or other, you share with him your problems. It's not only for, reporting a crime the first time you see him. That should not be the thing. There should be like we are all talking about collaborative efforts. It comes from the collaborative efforts. Again, coming back to the Bangladesh Bank's problem, see, we have it's basically CISO forum, which is done by the IDRBT, where the bank CISOs meet once in a quarter. We share our experience. The cyber experience has shared through a portal and all. That is different. Apart from that, we do a collaborative effort. We know each other. I think I'll be able to get in touch with any other bank CISO and talk to him if I have a problem I'm facing and I need to resolve it immediately, and I do not know where to go. I can call up one of those CISOs and ask him whether you have faced a problem like that, how did you do it? This is all at personal levels. It is not the bank-to-bank interaction. This is a collaborative effort between the CISOs, because if today you are facing a problem, maybe another bank will face a similar problem in the future. So we do have this collaborative efforts. And another thing we have is, I am a group CISO also for the bank. That is, we have associates, subsidiaries, and we also meet in quarterly intervals all the CISOs of the SBI group, be it general insurance, be it SBI Life, be it the associate banks. We do meet, share the problems, find that try to find a solution. Everything may not have a ready-made solution, but we try to find a solution, talk to each other. That kind of collaborative work only will help us in resolving these kind of problems, because cyber field itself is an evolving field. So nobody would know the answers to every question.
Thank you. There's a question in the front.
Party again from RBS. So I want to make one comment and one question as well. One comment is regarding the government agencies' participation. I'm surprised, other than one gentleman from IBA, I don't see anybody here. Ideally, and it's for the organizers to look at people from the cybercrime departments and from other agencies. I think it would have been a great session to have them together here and talk about some of the problems that the lady here raised. That's a suggestion for the organizers. In terms of the questions for this session, what I want to know is, as a global bank, one of the challenges we face is we typically implement very high-end security solutions and risk management approaches in UK and Europe. And when we try and map them with some of the RBI requirements, it becomes a mammoth task for us to explain to them why we should be doing this and we are doing something better than that. It becomes a lot of work around educating people. So what are regulators really doing other than looking at financial side of things in terms of security? How are they collaborating with the other regulators in UK and Europe and US to get some of those practices within the Indian environment?
See, State Bank is a global bank operating from India. Yours is the other way around. So we have